certain things are done this way, then I would say to hold your horses. Don't immediately jump in and feel like, you know what, I want to change these things, because then the teachers or the existing team will feel like you are not even taking the time to understand why we are doing this, you know, and they might, sometimes it can feel a little bit condescending to them also, that hey, this new person just coming in, not knowing my struggles, not knowing the team struggles, and then they're coming into the chat, and it can feel, it's not pleasant. Yeah. So for my school, because it's a very high touch point business, a lot of my clients are the parents, right? And what signals to the parents the overall health of the school is how happy the teachers look. And you know, you just want to make sure that the teachers are happy, they don't look like they are so burnt out, they hate being there, because then it doesn't give your parents the confidence to stay with this new management. So how they judge the new management, it's by looking at the teachers, whether the teachers look happier now, or do the teachers look like they're so miserable, because, you know, happy teachers, happy students, right? So that's it.
Okay, moving on, I think again building on what you just shared, I think for your business, there are a lot of stakeholders, different stakeholders, right? The teachers, the parents, the kids, the investors. Right? So how do you prioritize that from a angle of like the first 100 days, for example?
For a preschool business, definitely get like the regulatory stuff out of the way first. So settle your, you know, the different government bodies, ETA, and all this. And then again, I would say my priority is still the teachers. It's very, maybe it's a bit counterintuitive, because you think that your priorities will be the parents, right, will be the customers. Then again, the parents are not inside the school. They can't see how you run a business. They cannot see what their children do in school. But they interact with the teachers daily. So the second the teachers look like they are burnt out, they are upset, that's when the parents start panicking. Yeah. So my first priority was really stabilizing the team. There's definitely some culture reset, because after all, you inherited a team, and not everyone is gonna have the same attitude towards, you know, work as you. You can only take the time to slowly prune and reset the whole culture. But my priority was the teacher. Then after that, that's when I started to introduce like a weekly newsletter to share more with the parents about, you know, upcoming exciting projects. For students, don't have to worry so much, because somehow like the first day they will just warm up immediately. Like children are just so loving, right? So didn't have a problem there. Now the teachers are so happy. They speak to the parents, and they enjoy coming to work. I have teachers texting me and saying things like, thank you for, you know, making the school a place where I really feel proud teaching at, and that to me is like, okay, that's great to hear, because when they are happy, parents see it, parents are happy, parents see it.
Okay, cool. Okay, then the next one is what's your main focus right now, and what do you think is what does successful look like for you in the next 6 to 12 months?
For me, the nature of my business is that if parents are satisfied with you, they will speak well of your school. They will start to refer their friends and families. So I think that success looks like students coming in who are told like, hey, my friend was the one who told me about this school, you know. And then operationally, also a bit self-fulfilling. It's more like the school is doing things that they didn't used to do, innovating, trying new things. Yeah, definitely. A huge gauge of that would also be a full school, increased enrollment. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm opening to the floor right now. If you have any questions or sharing, maybe Chris.
Yeah, that's fine. Polari Schoolhouse acquired like some Maple Tree franchises.
Maple Band.
Maple Band. Oh, okay. So it's not its own brand. So I'm just curious. ETA is also open to investing in franchises. Okay.
Maybe bought over as a franchise business, so we took over.
Oh.
Yeah,
And then,
absolutely.
Yeah. I was searching for Polaris Schoolhouse. I found a company that was set up in 2025. So do you do like an asset acquisition instead of buying over a company?
I'll take that. It's, from a structural perspective.
Yeah.
So we set up a holding company, of which then we bought over the operating company that owns.
Oh, I see.
the-
I see.
Okay. So I mean to say that all the businesses actually having like a short range planning and the long range planning. Okay. So you know that basically short range what the plans are there and the long range. Okay. Now it's a completely different question, but because since it is a school, that's the reason I'm asking. Like the way right now the Singapore baht dip is going down, how you are thinking about it in the future, that how you are going to score it?
Yeah, so this is definitely something that we discussed a lot while we were still doing our due diligence. So what are some of the risks of taking over a preschool business? And the first thing that we talked about immediately was the declining birth rate, right? And there's so much talk about this these days. For that, I think there's still a lot of demands when it comes to preschool. There's competition with, of course, the government school, like your POP school. So for us, to mitigate a bit of that risk, we particularly look at neighborhoods that have an up-and-coming development. So from our school, it is right next to Springleaf Residences, which will have about, if I'm not wrong, is it 900 over units? Yeah, and with this kind of youngish development, we are expecting there to have, we were expecting there to be young families then, and the proximity is like within walking distance. We expect to, really make use of a catchment area to grab the students. But definitely for long-term planning, the plan has always been to really build a really very excellent school that parents around the vicinity all just want to send their kids to, and then hopefully, get it full house and have someone buy the school from us. Yeah, so I've always been very upfront with Eric, it's about being adaptable. So for me, I'm 6 months into this business. We are also still learning along the ways. There are also so many things that we are trying to observe, even from other paper bears that we start to network with, getting some insider knowledge. I think first acquisition and second acquisition will look very different because of what you have learned along the ways as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, so you took over one branch, and the owners that you replaced, they were retiring, or they're owners, or sorry, how does that?
Okay. I mean that was the story. Like they said that they are retiring. You never really know if they are,
Sure.
right? But at that point of time, they wanted to sell the business. They say that they are at retirement age, and I mean they really sort of are.
Yeah, they
Hot so anyways, they said they want to retire. They want to sell this franchise, and then we happened to just see the deal. We had there was a broker in that process. So they have since left. Yeah.
But were they the original sort of, they owned multiple franchises, or they were just the one
Just
and
that
have
one.
the, okay, so
Just
just
the
clean
one.
exit for those
They
guys.
wanted to exit.
And just
Oh,
last,
so
I don't know
sorry.
if it's personal and you don't have to go into exact details, but so now how does the cap work? So you are the main owner, GenCap is co-owner, and then there's investors, or just roughly, it doesn't have to be exact.
So very similar to the hybrid model that I shared earlier in the days. We fundraise.
Yes.
So the majority owners are the investors. Sherry owns the lion's share of the ordinary shares.
Right.
Yeah. So then she shares something. That's it.
I was gonna related question.
Yeah.
I was curious about your personal journey because it sounds like actually GenCap was looking to buy into the sector and then found you. So I
Yes.
presume you were not looking to own a school, but you were sort of maybe helping run another school. I guess what was that like, the sort of suddenly I'm going to go from senior employee to owner. And also then, I guess because you came into this school, having run into the school, were things being run very different, and did it help or hurt, I guess, having a previous model in your head on how to do things?
Definitely. So, okay, it's very different being an employee versus an operator, right? So even if let's say you are a senior manager, you are in a management team in a previous company, when you become an operator, it really starts to hit you when everyone is coming to you and asking for your positions for things. They are coming to you with problems to solve. As an employee, you are probably managing projects. You are managing like a team, but you don't really take care of the P&L. As an operator, that is a big part of your job. Okay, you have to balance staff welfare, customer experience, and all this while making sure that you still generate good profits for your shareholders. So that's definitely a different kind of pressure. And as for the second part of the question, where you ask if having experience working as a senior manager, does that impact how I run a business? I would say that because I have worked for someone before, I understand what it's like to be an employee. Maybe I also share a little bit of background. My husband used to run a social enterprise, and he never worked for anyone. So he, at a very young age, he just became an employer. And we often, discuss and talk about how difficult it is to actually relate to people on the ground. Definitely an advantage when I shared with my team that I was a teacher before. Somehow that made everyone sigh of relief, like, okay, she's a teacher before. Yeah, because my previous, exactly, because just a funny anecdote. The previous seller actually has this stationery cabinet where she stores the watercolor, color pens, everything, and it's locked up. So the teachers need to ask for our permission to unlock it to get color pencils for the students, which to me is like, why would you do that, right? And she was really thinking from the business point of view. I need to cut costs. I need to be very strict with my expenses. But as someone who was a teacher, I know that without resources you can't buy lessons. No wonder parents have been telling me that the crafts are not innovative. Everything is so simple because the teachers don't want to spend their own money doing all these lessons. So it also impacts the business, right? Yeah.
Okay. Maybe just last one, then we'll go forward.
Actually, I was wondering for a franchise business, why acquire existing franchising instead of setting up a new franchise yourself? Just pays royalties. It really has the like brand recognition, SOP. Why acquire instead of setting up?
So exactly like what you said, there is already brand recognition, right? You have to pay royalty, but during the starting phase, you are supported by HQ. So what we are paying every month is ensuring that if anything goes wrong, there's this team of experts who are there to advise you. They also have a legal team that you can fall back on. And I think when it comes to education, parents, especially Singaporean parents, right, they want what is tried and tested. So if I were to start my own preschool business now, I probably can, and it will take a few years to
Start a new franchise.
Yeah, like
if you were to Maple there as well. Does that make sense? Like versus acquiring one?
It's not a new maker there, as in,
Like,
so,
it's a franchise,
yes, but I have to pay, basically it wouldn't, I would have to start from scratch, right?
Okay.
And then I don't have any students as well. But what we are buying into now is the existing student pool that you
So instead of starting from scratch, you buy a franchise business that already has a steady flow.
Yes. Yes, yeah. Because it's very scary, if you would, I think for our business, it took the sellers about 2-3 years to actually reach profitability.
Okay.
So if you were to start a new school, first of all, you do not know whether there really will be students or not, declining birth rate, right? And then secondly, that area would then, you just have to find out. It's a gamble whether there's any catchment around that area. For us, we know that when we come in, there is X number of students.
Okay.
Okay. any last words of wisdom for the crowd, knowing that these folks here are aspiring entrepreneurs, like ETA entrepreneurs?
Okay. As cliche as it sounds, right? After you take over the business, it really is a marathon and not a sprint. It is very, very tempting, extremely tempting. I was telling Eric the first week after I took over the business, right? I'm like, I have 100 things on my to-do list. I strike off 10, there's still another 100 there. The math is not mathing for me. And it's very tempting, right? To just really work on it without resting, because you just feel like, okay, I just take one more thing off and then I have less things to do next day, but then next day you have another 10 things to do. But your energy is finite, right? And if you go at the speed that you are tempted to, you will get burnout, and it does not do your business any good. Physically, mentally, you need to be well rested in order to make sound decisions for your team and your company. So I would say no one is expecting a complete transformation of the company within the first 100 days of acquisition. I mean, right?
Yes.
So just kidding. In fact, Eric has been telling me like, hey, your mental health is very
I'm the one who
you can tell me that. And in fact, I mean, even for Zach, he's the one who has to tell me like, are you resting? Because you guys know I had to do emergency surgery, and it was quite a major one. So I was like on the phone with Zach, telling him like all these plans I had, and then he's like, Sherry, are you resting? Because all of us are in it to make money, but you can't make money if you don't have your health. So to me, it was very refreshing to hear that, right? And I realized that to be a good employer, to be a good operator, I have to take care of myself first. Yeah. If you're unhealthy, you're always falling sick. You're not taking care of the business. You're also not doing your job. So please take care of yourself in this journey, and having that distance and space sometimes for yourself, right, also gives you clarity of mind.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Sherry. Really appreciate it. Something small for you.
Thank you. Oh, so cute.
Okay, guys. Let's take 5 minutes break, and for those who want to chat with Sherry,